No question about it. How did everything go today on the first day of camp?
Good start. I thought we had some good speed out there, some good competition. Saw some carryover from, the individual and the group drills over to the team sessions, and we're off and rolling.
So when you bring up carryover, just for the audience who may not necessarily understand the kind of things that you and the staff are looking for, what specifically are you trying to identify or trying to see how much guys picked up or where things might have dropped off?
Yeah, there's certain techniques and fundamentals with every position that the coaches work on during the individual portions of practice where it's just the coach in that position group. The techniques, it's hand placement, it's hat placement, it's hips, it's angles, all of that kind of stuff. And then you want to see that carry over into the team sessions where all the stuff that they learned in the individual stuff, fundamentally, they're applying that to the specific play that's called.
So with this period right now, it almost feeling like a little bit of an extension of Phase 3 as far as the pads, not quite yet, and kind of the acclimation process. What are you guys focused on first and foremost as we get out here and get started for fans to kind of be following along with?
Yeah, guys were in shape the last couple of days on the conditioning test, which was good. The energy at practice, I thought we had some good juice at practice today. Guys were into it. The attention to the details and the fundamentals of every play. Again, we've gotten all of the a lot of the installation is already in from the spring, so you start back over and what's the carryover from spring and that learning process to the initial couple days, and you can't just put the guys out there and throw pads on them and start hitting each other. There's an acclimation period that we work with the league and from a scheduling standpoint to get the guys ready for those contact periods.
Titans General Manager Jon Robinson here with us on 104.5 The Zone. We're live out here at Titans training camp. Obviously a lot of first day kind of jitters or sloppiness, whatever you want to call it, to work out, but a lot of really good snaps from a lot of different dudes out there today. Traylon Burks looked like he was comfortable with what he was being asked. He looked productive out there. He looked like he was really competing.
Yeah, like I said yesterday in my kind of press session there, I thought that he did an outstanding job over the summer of getting himself back, and we saw that in the conditioning test and then those first two practices that weren't open to the media. It was just us here, and you could see that it was just it looked like more like what we saw on the Arkansas film when we evaluated him. And, the carryover that he showed out here today was off to a good start.
I don't think that's any small thing, given how much scrutiny, not even just individually Traylon, John, but like how much scrutiny these guys are on, given social media, given instantaneous reaction, things that I know that you know a lot about with all of this, but just simply the ability to put a good day together and then to build off it tomorrow and to go from there. I think people almost get ahead of themselves when they talk about the fundamentals of what training camp exactly is.
Yeah, especially for these rookies. They're learning a new offense. They're learning new terminology. Their system at Arkansas or Auburn, if it's Roger, or Ohio State, if it's the terminology may be a little different. And they're trying to, associate, well, we called it this for the last 4 years or 3 years at my college. It's the same skill and what we're asking, but we call it this here with the Titans. That association of what the terminology is. Certainly, as a draft pick, the spotlight's on you. And let's face it, we live in kind of a microwave society where you just want to hit, reheat or cook for 3 minutes and you've got, Salisbury steak, So that's not the reality with football, with pro football. It's a process, and there's a patience that we have to have as a staff, and continue to evaluate, encourage, coach, and then it's up to the player to kind of keep grinding and improve.
Every NFL organization operates under their own rules and how whatever their standards are, but from your standpoint, when it comes to just basically managing expectations and almost that patience that you talk about. From my perspective, it looks like there's precious little patience in the league just generally, regardless of what the position is. And it seems that how much social media impacts that, whatever the case may be, whatever is impacting it, it just seems like that is a thing that I've observed. I don't know if somebody in your position has that observation as well, or if that's something that you've even experienced and figured out how to kind of manage.
Well, you're not going to be able to please everybody. You're going to get nitpicked on everything. Somebody's going to find something wrong. I think the social media, they call it trolling or trolls or something like that. Like, I don't even.
I feel
know.
like that's what they call me. I think I'm
maybe
a troll.
I'm probably worse than that, but we can't pay attention to that. The most important thing is what we do on a day in and day out basis. How we conduct ourselves away from the building, and then all of the work that we put in to be accountable to staff, teammates. When we're here working.
What is the biggest misconception you think about what your job entails entirely? Because I feel like there's a lot of things that people know. People obviously identify you as the general manager, but may not necessarily understand everything, all the different parts and pieces that you're responsible for managing.
Yeah, I think that probably the first thing, and probably the most important thing, is managing the roster and picking players and deciding who's going to be on the team and who's not going to be on the team. But that's not solely what I do. I work with Coach Rabel when he's evaluating his coaches. I've met with the week before we came to camp. I'm meeting with our ops team and we're talking about parking and then where we're going to put this group, where we're going to put that group. I meet with Todd and our training staff. Like I asked him yesterday, how are the whirlpools? How's the cold tubs? Is everything good there? From the field standpoint, where are we at on laying the side? It was a beach out here, 2 months ago when you guys came to, OTAs.
Everything looks pretty. I know it's been a slow burn, but everything looks pretty good.
I kind of cachet it, if that's the right word, and say that I generally manage a lot of stuff because, today the power went out and the clocks were out, so I had my cell phone and I'm timing the periods and I'm telling Braves, you got 2 minutes left. But that's what you do. You just got to kind of clock in and whatever comes up, you're just trying to make sure that the organization and the football team is going in the right direction.
Titans GM Jon Robinson with us here on 104.5 The Zone. The relationship that you and Mike have, we've asked you about it a million times since you guys have been together, but it seems like it really just operates on a different kind of level, and it's been so much time spent, repetition basically, at this point, kind of trying to figure out what makes sense for everybody and finding the best solution moving forward. That feels like something that you guys have really ironed out now heading into this is year 7 for you and year 5 for Mike.
Yeah, I think, with both of our backgrounds, what's that, Taylor?
Your favorite podcast.
Pod show, yeah. Yeah, Lawan wants me to pub his pod show. I'm not going to.
His pod show.
Hey, no free shout-outs.
Nope.
But no, I think, with Mike's history, certainly, starting with Pittsburgh and the Steelers, and then with, obviously with Coach Belichick there in New England and the time I spent in New England, philosophically, we see things similarly in how it should run, the types of players we want. Not that we don't have discussions back and forth and have some good conversations, but at the end of the day, it's about what's best for the football team. We both believe that, and it's about getting the right kind of players in here. There's got to be a certain level of talent, but they've got to be about the team. We don't want selfishness or any of that kind of stuff because it's just a distraction that ultimately somebody else has to manage.
No, I think kind of going back to misconceptions, I thought Mike was really good on that yesterday. I don't know how much of his comments you saw, but basically that he does not want you guys as a football team to rely on talent. There has to be fundamentals. There has to be discipline. The basic granular things that allow you to set yourself up for success in a football game that have to be established first before you can rely on highlight reel plays and, clear and obvious talent that everybody identifies because fantasy football and all these other things.
Yeah, I think you could look at over the history of sports, regardless of what the what the actual sport was. I don't think anybody, Ole Miss probably in the baseball, nobody thought, in the end of May or middle of May that they were going to win the College World Series.
A lot of bitter Vols fans out there, John.
Yeah, I know. And was Ole Miss the most talented team? I don't know. I don't know much about baseball. Right. But in the end, they found a way to come together as a team and make enough plays throughout the course of each game that they played, and they won. And certainly you've got to have talent. And I'm sure Ole Miss has got a bunch of great baseball players on their baseball team, and we got a bunch of great players on our football team. But it's about that group coming together as a team and working as one unit.
I'd have hit you up for the College World Series if I thought we were going to be doing some baseball in that.
Well, I don't know much about baseball. I think it's balls and strikes, and you get three strikes and you're out.
That's
still.
My understanding.
I was all region in Babe Ruth. And I wasn't a cleanup hitter, but I was pretty tough and I was durable and
gritty.
I was gritty. I wasn't afraid to sacrifice or try to take out a catcher. Whatever needed to be done.
Very noble of you. Titans GM Jon Robinson, kind enough to give us some of his time here on 104.5 The Zone. John, I appreciate you stopping by. Continued health and success